Live from KSAT 12, the 6 o'clock news starts right now.
With spring break in full swing, a state agency is working hard to keep alcohol away from minors.
Agents from the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission are visiting liquor stores, bars, and other locations where alcohol is sold. The agency is conducting undercover operations in cities across the state where college students are gathering, and also right here in San Antonio.
Tiffany Huertas has a look at how the agency is changing its focus from tracking down COVID-19 safety guideline violators to focusing on underage sales and drinking.
There are going to be a lot of college students across the state who may be having what we call a staycation, where they remain in their cities. And so here in locations like Austin, Houston, San Antonio, we will be conducting these undercover operations.
With the statewide coronavirus restrictions lifted, agents with the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission will be busy this spring break.
So what TABC is doing is similar to what we've done in years past, where we conduct a statewide undercover operation with the goal being to help businesses prevent the sale of alcohol to minors as well as to intoxicated patrons.
Chris Porter with TABC says in years past, they conducted anywhere between 1,000 to 1,500 inspections statewide during spring break.
Of those, we generally see about a 95 to 98% compliance rate statewide, including at places like liquor stores and convenience stores.
But businesses that sell alcohol to people younger than 21 could face a civil fine or suspension of their license to sell alcohol. Employees who conduct the sale could be charged with a Class A misdemeanor punishable by a fine of up to $4,000 and up to 1 year in jail.
For the person who is attempting to lie about their age or something of that nature to purchase alcohol, they could additionally face a misdemeanor charge by their local police authorities. Since last June, we've conducted more than 41,000 inspections, and so far in about 280 cases, we actually had to issue a suspension.
Over the last couple of months, TABC has been enforcing COVID-19 restrictions set by the state at bars and restaurants. These next couple of weeks, the agency will focus on keeping alcohol away from underage spring breakers. Tiffany Huertas, KSAT 12 News.
CPS Energy today filed suit against the state's electric grid operator, claiming that ERCOT is responsible for the sky-high energy prices CPS was forced to pay during last month's winter storm. That lawsuit against ERCOT accuses the entity of racking up a $20 billion bill over just 5 days, a majority of which came from power companies having to pay the maximum price allowed for energy days after there were no longer issues with supply. CPS Energy President and CEO Paula Gold-Williams says when there is volatility, it's the customer who ultimately pays the price.
So the design of the system did not work. The administration of the system did not work.
The filing of the lawsuit against ERCOT comes the same day the KSAT 12 defenders obtained records from a second wrongful death lawsuit filed against CPS. That suit claims the lack of power last month led to shortened dialysis treatments for one man who later died.
Negotiations about to begin in earnest between the city of San Antonio and the police union. Today was the final day for either side to propose anything new. Now it's a matter of reaching a deal. Garrett Berger tells us where things stand.
The city of San Antonio has been driving negotiations so far, suggesting the majority of changes, though the San Antonio Police Officers Association won't say if there's anything they won't budge on.
What the association tries really hard to do is we don't put a hard line in the sand.
That doesn't mean there isn't a gap in what they want, like with pay and benefits. The city only wants about 8% worth of increases over 5 years, compared to the union, which wants at least 12% over the same period of time. And the city wants to keep increasing employee health contributions at a much higher rate than the union does. But it's discipline, not dollars, where most of the focus is likely to be.
The city's priority is discipline, and we have not made progress on that area from where we left last week.
And the biggest issue on that front is the city's attempt to reduce how much power a third-party arbitrator has to overturn the police chief's discipline on appeal.
That is our top priority within what we have laid out to the association.
And the two sides are still far apart on that one.
That will probably be the biggest sticking point at this time.
With the union wary of giving up power to challenge what they see as unjust firings.
You go through the process, like they said, but there are mitigating circumstances, and we'd still like to have a third party, a neutral third party, be able to change something if there are mitigating facts in there.
And looming over the negotiations is the upcoming May 1st vote on Proposition B, which could strip police officers of their ability to collectively bargain for a contract and stop negotiations in their tracks. Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
New at 6, 2 recent murder cases, one involving a dismembered body, the other a lover's triangle, now back in the forefront. Paul Venema learned that the grand jury has returned murder indictments in each case.
26-year-old Rafael Castillo was returned to San Antonio last December, capping a month-long investigation. He was arrested in Brownsville, wanted for the murder of 31-year-old Nicole Perry. Her body was found by highway work crews in a brushy area on the southeast side about a month earlier. An investigation by sheriff's deputies led to this house in the 300 block of Harlan Street, the sheriff told us.
Miss Perry was actually killed with an axe or a hatchet there at the scene.
He said witnesses said that Perry and Castillo had gotten into an argument. Castillo claimed that she had disrespected his name and he was going to teach her a lesson.
It appears at this point from the information that we developed that she was actually partially dismembered while still alive. Her hands were cut off.
The woman's murder remains an ongoing investigation.
We're not ruling out additional arrests at some point.
The second indictment alleges that 35-year-old Priscilla Caballero shot and killed 32-year-old Yvette Salinas here last January. Caballero killed Salinas in what police are calling a lover's triangle case. They said that the women were reportedly romantically involved with the same man. Paul Venema, KSAT 12 News.
Let's take a quick check of traffic with Time Saver Traffic out at 410 in Jackson Keller. Nothing to see really here. Traffic moving along just fine as we would expect here on this spring break. It probably seems much longer than 12 months, but 1 year ago, the CDC declared our country was in a pandemic. Pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer turned to a leading infectious disease research facility, Texas Biomed, which is right here in San Antonio. Jesse Degollado says it helped unlock the key that would lead to the life-saving vaccines we now have.
The COVID-19 vaccines that were so anxiously awaited had to first undergo clinical trials using volunteers. To do that safely, Texas Biomed had found rhesus monkeys and baboons, along with some rodents, would be the perfect models to test.
As a result, in the animals, the vaccine performed beautifully, and in humans.
1 year later, Schlesinger says he's thrilled to see so many people now being vaccinated.
I am incredibly humbled, but also very proud of the fact that science has declared itself a winner.
Vaccines were developed in record time, he says, and being given as quickly as they arrive, as the number of cases and hospitalizations are dropping.
We have hope. We have a strategy. We have a national strategy.
Still, he says the work at Texas Biomed is far from over.
We have the variants that you hear about, and we are studying next-generation vaccines.
2 more could be available soon, he says. Texas Biomed also is helping 30 companies develop even more vaccines and the needed therapies to treat COVID patients. The outcomes, he says, could save lives.
I do not want to see another pandemic where we lose as many lives as we've lost with COVID-19.
Jesse Degollado, KSAT 12 News.
And you can hear more of Dr. Schlesinger's interview and his words of caution right now on KSAT.com.
A spring break COVID-19 testing. The nonprofit organization Community Labs has partnered with 3 local school districts to provide free testing this weekend. Students and employees in the South Side, Southwest, and Judson Independent School Districts and their families can be tested at no charge and without proof of insurance. Community Labs President Sal Weber says testing students is critical.
There is no vaccine for K-12 children. And so we think it's smartest to keep testing that population.
Community Labs works with schools and businesses. They've administered more than 400,000 tests in just over 6 months. To learn more about the testing sites, visit KSAT.com.
Let's take a live look outside with live cam on this Friday evening. Gray again out there, lots of clouds, but we did see a few more peaks of sun today than we've seen most of the week, Adam.
And they counted, right? A few little
That's right.
glimpse of the sun here and there, a few little peaks. And tomorrow's going to be very similar. Today we started the day at 68, made it up to 80 degrees for the high temperature, but you really notice that wind again today. Even right now, it's steady out of the southeast, around 20 miles per hour here in San Antonio and even many surrounding communities. Remaining gusty through the night and even on into our Saturday. 80 right now in Castroville. We're 75 in Comfort, 78 New Braunfels, 77 Randolph area, and 79 currently in Helotes. Still hanging on to the 80s south and west of town. Del Rio 85 along with Cotulla and Laredo, the hot spot now at 87. This evening, temperatures just falling back down into the 60s, humid, mostly cloudy, drizzle, and some patchy sprinkles developing overnight. We're going to start the day tomorrow with a little bit of dampness, but the better rain chances come tomorrow night on into the first part of Saturday. Even by 9-10 p.m. Saturday evening, we could have a few storms closer to Val Verde County and in some border communities, even the chance for strong storms. Most of the day, just like today, mostly cloudy, upper 70s, still breezy. Tomorrow, it's those rain chances that really ramp up tomorrow night and last through the first part of Sunday. We'll talk more about coming right up.
What we now know about how COVID impacts kids and when we might see a vaccine for them coming up tonight.
The numbers have been promising, but the clear message is we all have a lot of work left to do. That's really been hammered throughout every single one of these daily briefings over the last week as our case numbers continue to head downward.
Lots of good news this week. Let's see what they have to tell us tonight.
Good evening. I'm Mayor Ron Nirenberg with Bexar County Judge Nelson Wolf, and this is our COVID-19 update for the San Antonio community. Tonight we're reporting 158 new cases of COVID-19, which brings our total to 199,589. Our new 7-day rolling average is down 18 to 168. Unfortunately, we do have 3 new deaths to report this evening. The total lives lost in our community to COVID-19 since this pandemic began is 2,864. Please do keep in mind that those are lives that were well lived and now are lost, family, neighbors, friends, and colleagues who are lost to this virus, so please keep them in your prayers this evening. We have 3 fewer COVID-19 patients in the hospitals this evening, down to 237. And that, again, is the first time, for the first time since early November, we now have fewer than 100 patients in the ICU. We now have 97 patients in the ICU this evening. There are 35 new admissions over the last 24 hours, and 63 patients this evening are on ventilators with COVID-19. Let me give you an update on the vaccine numbers overall. We mentioned yesterday that 319,011 people in Bexar County have received their first dose, and 184,348 people are fully vaccinated in our community. Of those, more than 1/3 are over the age of 65. Seniors make up the largest age group of those who have been vaccinating, and that is, of course, by design. We want to make sure that those who are most vulnerable to the severe impacts of this virus are being vaccinated first. So that's going very well. Of the total population of residents 16 and up, 18.3% have now received at least 1 dose in Bexar County. And again, as we work to get more people vaccinated in our community, please continue to wear your mask and practice social distancing. Let's work together to protect one another from this pandemic. Let me turn it now to Judge Wolf.
Well, we really are in a race to get vaccines in quick as we can and to get them administered as we try to counteract this COVID, and then with the relaxed rules, we're having to move as fast as we can. At University Hospital, we'll end up doing about 21,226 by the end of this week, which includes Saturday also. Tomorrow, we're going to focus on 1,500 teachers and over 1,100 healthcare workers that have not been vaccinated. So that's what we'll be doing Saturday. The following week, we'll continue to do the work through the bookings we've already got. And then on March the 29th, we'll open it up for more appointments, and that would, of course, include those 50 years old also. So if we get the vaccines in, obviously we can do more and more every day, and so it's a matter of continuing, we've said over and over, supply, but we're doing everything we can with what we've got now. You know, it's kind of interesting when you look back and trying to figure out where we're headed and what will happen. I was looking back on April 29th. We only had 55 people in the hospital, and then the governor took away our mandate on face mask, and we exploded through the summer. And it was only about 3 months later we went from 55 people in the hospital to 1,261. Then we worked our way back down again in a successful manner. And by August the 12th, we got down to 184. But then the winter storm hit us and the changing hit us and that second wave hit us, getting up to 1,520 by January the 18th. So you can see they're sort of parallel. Now we're down to 237, but we still haven't hit that low mark that was in between what we did this summer and what happened this winter. So we've got a lot of work to do to continue to do it. Again, want to call out to employers who have stepped up in providing a safe environment, including the Bang Bang Bar and the Virgin Plant Company and the Lifetime Family Eye Service, Northside Auto Group dealerships, Office Furniture Liquidators, Pinstripes, Classic Barbecue, Classic Barbershop. So everybody's stepping up. So we want to thank very much the businesses that are being very careful how they protect their customers as well as their employees.
Right. Thank you, Judge. And if there is a moral to that story, it is please continue to do your part. Do mask up, please, as you wait for your vaccine. And if you do want to get alerted to the vaccine appointments as they become available, please text vacuna or vaccine to 55000, and you'll get a text alert when new appointments become available in one of the public health labs that are providing vaccines. Also, it's Friday, and I do want to point out some of our contact tracers of the week. Again, our contact tracers have been working double time throughout this pandemic to identify.
Thank you again from the county judge today to those businesses that are continuing to require masks after the state mandate ended. And as a reminder, we do have a long list of businesses that are doing just that on our website at KSAT.com. As far as the numbers go today, 158 new cases of COVID-19 confirmed, 3 new deaths reported as well. We have seen some fluctuation this week in terms of the new case numbers. One day, fewer than 100. Yesterday, more than 300. That's why we tell you about that 7-day rolling average to give a better picture of where we really are in terms of the case count. 168 cases on average reported per 24 hours at this point.
And on the vaccine front, the mayor saying 1/3 of people over 65 are now vaccinated here in Bexar County. Meanwhile, 18.3% have had one dose. That's the population 16 and up that have been vaccinated so far. And then the county judge also saying that they're continuing their vaccine efforts this weekend with 1,500 teachers who should get their first dose, as well as 1,100 healthcare workers as they continue to get those vaccines into arms.
And a lot of people out there, you're continuing your effort to get the vaccine. We have plenty of information on KSAT.com about how to get an appointment. All right, let's turn to the forecast out there right now. Adam Caskey is back with us this evening. It's been a pretty gray spring break.
Yeah, it has. We've had the low clouds and even gusty winds that we've noticed. The humidity's back in place, and you feel a little mugginess out there. Tomorrow's going to be very similar to today. It's tomorrow night when we have some promising rain chances. Let's get right to it. You see the clouds draped across just about all of Texas. Some of them starting to squeeze out a few showers, but not a whole lot of that activity yet. What we're looking at is this bigger, broader system that's moving in from the West Coast, moving into the Four Corners region. And this is going to be a big snowmaker for the Rocky Mountains. Higher elevation is going to get slammed with snow from New Mexico on into Colorado and obviously into Utah as well. This system, though, will swing some showers through our neck of the woods tomorrow night. So some drizzle tonight into early tomorrow morning. Then tomorrow afternoon, a lot like today, mainly gray, a few cracks in the clouds here and there, muggy and breezy. It's tomorrow night after sunset, about 8, 9 o'clock, and we could see some storms closer to the Rio Grande, especially Valverde County, even up into Edwards County, toward Kimball County. That's where we could have some storms developing. Some of them could actually be stronger. As we progress through the night, the storms should weaken, but we'll still have some leftover rain. So around midnight, give or take, I-35 corridor, some areas of rain, and we'll have some scattered activity lasting all the way through about the noon hour on Sunday, and then by Sunday afternoon, sunshine. Temperature-wise, 67 in the morning tomorrow, up near 80 for the high temperature, humid, gusty winds out of the southeast at times 30 miles per hour. We could see up to ½ an inch of rainfall in lucky locations through Sunday morning with that activity that's going to be moving through. Then we've got afternoon sunshine, a beautiful Sunday afternoon, mid-70s, low humidity, and not as gusty out there as well. Into next week, you see those temperatures rebounding into the low to mid-80s with another storm chance Tuesday night.
80s. All right. Thanks, Adam.
Larry has a look at sports next.
The Spurs are home tonight to face off with the sub-500 Orlando Magic. San Antonio is 8-4 this season against teams below 500. Leading scorer DeMar DeRozan is out because he's taking care of personal matters. Outside of that, the Spurs are expected to be 100%. For guard Derek White, this will be his second game back after dealing with COVID-19. He's trying to get back into game shape after nearly 3.5 weeks in between games.
Yeah, definitely was tough. Obviously, getting COVID, not really doing anything for 10, 11 days, and then going through all the cardiac stuff. So, I just got to get my rhythm back, like I've been saying pretty much this whole year. So, just one game at a time, just get that rhythm back, and we'll be good.
And tonight is the second game without LaMarcus, now that the Spurs are trying to deal him to another team. Spurs will host the Magic tonight at 8 before leaving for a 5-game road trip. And the Cole Cougars did it. They beat Tatum to win the Class 3A state championship today. Cougars guard Trey Blackmore nailed his jumper to beat the halftime buzzer, and Cole led 30-25 at halftime. Third quarter, the Cougars put this game on ice, opening with an 11-0 run to win the quarter 31-12. Blackmore scored a game-high 34 points in 31 minutes, and Silas Livingston had 24 points to help Cole win the Class 3A state championship 77-60, and Blackmore was named game MVP.
We felt like we were going to score on the offensive end, and we had just told the guys that, hey, we got to limit these guys to just one-shot opportunities and make sure we're all boxing out. I think we did a really good job of that.
Playing the different role years before, it really built us and showed us how to lead the team better from our seniors or Vince. And I feel like Coach did a great job of game planning, never taking a day off, early mornings, late nights, and it really showed it.
Cole finishes the season 27-5 and wins its first state title since 1989 when Shaq led the way. In women's college basketball, Stanford recently won the Pac-12 tournament, beating UCLA 75-55. Stanford guard and Wagner High School great Kiana Williams scored 26 points in that game, and she was named the tournament's most outstanding player after finishing with 49 points, 11 assists, and 8 rebounds in 3 games. Next up for the Cardinal, the NCAA women's tournament right here in our local area.
This can be our best game. We have business to take care of in San Antonio, my hometown, and we're going to enjoy this. But we're getting ready for San Antonio. We want to be the last team standing.
ESPN predicts Stanford will be the overall number 1 seed. They're 25-2, winners of 14 straight. Selection Monday is March 15th. And Baylor junior Nalissa Smith was named the Big 12 Women's Basketball Player of the Year this week after leading the Lady Bears in scoring and rebounding. The East Central alum is averaging 17.2 points and 9.2 rebounds a game this season. Tomorrow night, Ray the Judge Rodriguez will take part in the UFC Fight Night 187 in Las Vegas. The 2018 Incarnate Word grad and Army vet is 16-7-0 with 3 knockouts and 8 submissions.
UFC. I'm going to be fighting a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion. He's been in the game for a really long time, and looking forward to show him what we've been working on here in San Antonio.
His fight tomorrow can be seen on ESPN Plus, and you can read more about the Judge on the instant replay page on KSAT.com. Best of luck to the Judge.
See if he passes judgment. Thanks, Larry.
All right.
Our KSAT Q&A is up next. A crisis is looming, if not already underway, along the U.S.-Mexico border. That's the warning from Congressman Henry Cuellar, who joins us for today's KSAT Q&A to talk about this very issue. Congressman, thanks so much for being here. I want to first point out some numbers that you shared recently. 10,000 migrants apprehended in a span of 7 days a couple of weeks ago, roughly 2,500 apprehended within 2 days in early March. Can you give us a snapshot of why you're calling this a potential crisis?
2 reasons. One is that in February, we had about 100,000 encounters. And I say encounters, those are the people that Border Patrol catches. That leaves about maybe 10% that we never get to see. So there are larger numbers than the ones that we gave you. And second of all, there are 100,000. The months of March, April, May, and June are the highlights. The months where people really come across. So March is going to tell us a lot. And if we start going way over 100,000, you add the pandemic, and I think we're going to certainly have a humanitarian crisis at the border.
Whether we call this a crisis or not, clearly there is a surge happening there. Today, your office released a video showing a line of migrants on the other side of the border standing there in wide open area and then getting onto a raft and coming across. Why did you send that video out, and what does that depict about what's going on the border right now?
Well, it's important to show people that folks are coming across. And even though some people say, well, just build a wall is not going to stop this individual because, as you know, the fence is usually put about half a mile away from the river. So all of those folks that I'm showing you, a fence would have not stopped them, period on that. But it's important to understand that we're seeing the numbers go up. But we got to understand three categories. Adults, Title 42, the 1944 law is being used to return them. So if it's a single adult, Title 42 will return them. If it's a family units, they're coming into the United States, and after their process, either they're taken to an NGO or to a bus station and then dropped off. I would say that this morning they confirmed that they're dropping off people at the bus station, at the airport, both in Austin and in San Antonio, if they're coming from Carnes or the Dilley facility. Now, the third category are the kids. Those are brought in. We saw that reception. I think that's the new term that they're using. That holding place at Carrizo Springs, where I think they can hold up to 952 individuals. They got a little bit under 800 individuals right now, mainly 13 to 17 years of age.
Do you think that this recent surge we're seeing is the result of changes made by the Biden administration?
No. We started seeing these numbers from August of 2020 under the Trump administration. Then it went up to 78,000. In January, it was 78,000. All of this was under Trump. Now, there are some policies that people look at, Title 42, the MPP. Those are the pull factors over here, but we got to look at the push factors also. As you know, if you talk to a Democrat, generally speaking, they're going to say, look at the push factors, the violence, the lack of jobs in Central America. And by the way, we've added a couple $1 billion already since we started this program in 2014. Kay Ranger, myself, we started this program. Who was the vice president? Joe Biden, who led this effort. So those are push factors and pull factors that we got to look at. Let me give you one final number, which is very important. Under the Obama administration, the average number of people that came under the Obama administration was 513,000 people per year. Under the Trump administration, where you had all those policies, the average was 493,000 people per year. Almost the same, except 20,000 people. So even those policies that people talk about, it still slowed down people, but it was still almost the same numbers as under President Obama.
Now that the president was able to get the COVID relief package passed, obviously a major issue that he wanted to get dealt with first, are you urging the administration to tackle immigration next? This is clearly something that needs to be dealt with. And what do you want to see him do?
Well, next week, we actually have two votes. One is a DREAM Act protection. Two, we have a guest worker plan, which in my opinion will do a lot to stop people from coming in, because then people can come in, work, and then go back when they need to go. So that those two votes are going to be important next week. We'll pass it from the House. Question is, can we get 60 votes on the Senate side? So we're going to vote on that next week. Comprehensive immigration reform, we still don't have the votes, even on the House side, to get that. That would be a little bit more difficult, but at least pass the DREAM Act and let's pass the guest worker plan.
But do you think that the president needs to be more forceful and say the border is not open?
Yes. There's three messages that I want you to listen to this. Message number one, White House says, don't come now, come later, right? That's a message. Message number two is the network, what I call family and friends, tios, primos network, would say, hey, Pedro, I just came across, so come on over. And guess what? When I was with some of the 13 and 17-year-old today, I asked them about those messages. And they said, No, we haven't heard anything from the White House message. But yes, we've heard from our friends and neighbors and primos that are saying, come on over. Plus, in Honduras, we see people coming across over here. And then, of course, the drug organizations, a third message, come into play. So guess what? It proves my point. They're listening to the neighborhood, friends, Theo network, and the organizations that say they can come in. They see images of people coming across. And guess what? That's what they're hearing. And it was verified today.
A crisis that could be looming, one to definitely keep tabs on as our nation deals with our own crisis amid this pandemic. Congressman Henry Cuellar, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much, and have a good weekend.
You too, sir. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Quick look at news around America. A statue of late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg now standing in New York. The unveiling coincided with Women's History Month and Ginsburg's 88th birthday. It was also declared Justice Ginsburg Day in Brooklyn, where she was born. Ginsburg played a role in creating the statue, giving final approval to the artist just before her death. She passed away in September after serving on the Supreme Court for 27 years.
Let's take a look outside with live cam this evening. It's been a pretty gray week for the past several days, but Adam, we're talking about some storms potentially this weekend.
Yeah, I think Saturday night we could have some thunderstorms, particularly west of San Antonio, closer to the Rio Grande, Del Rio area in particular. But around here, mainly just looking at some scattered rain. Not tonight. Tonight becoming drizzly and damp with a few sprinkles. Warm though, 77 now. By 10 p.m. near 70 degrees, and then overnight we only fall down into the mid to upper 60s for overnight lows. We're going to talk more about those rain chances, time it out for you, and tell you about the rest of the weekend coming right up.
The saying for all things a season apparently applies to the Kit Kat bar. The seasonal release will continue this spring with a key lime pie flavored Kit Kat. Instead of milk chocolate, this one features key lime pie flavored cream.
I don't know where I come down on this one. It's hitting stores nationwide, selling for $1.09. If you'd like to give it a try, and or the price may vary wherever you are. They will only be around for just a little while. Other seasonal offerings in the past from Kit Kat have been an apple pie version for the summer and, of course, pumpkin pie in the fall.
There's pumpkin everything in the fall. After that brutal winter storm from a few weeks back, a lot of people looking to get some green in their lives by working in the garden, which is why today is perfect for that. Today is National Plant a Flower Day. Flower gardening's become a hobby and a therapy for many, young and old.
Marigolds and daffodils are the flowers of March, but any flower will do. It's good to know what zone you live in to determine which flowers grow as perennials in your area. I'm dealing with the mold right now. And which are considered annuals, and which ones can stand up to temperature swings, and when and if, I don't even know what that means.
That'll happen.
Go plant a flower.
You know, I can tell you what didn't stand up to winter in my yard recently.
Yeah.
If you're still holding on to some Thin Mints from Girl Scout cookies this year, you could have a couple in honor the Girl Scouts who sell them. Today is also National Girl Scout Day. The first official Girl Scout troop meeting, it happened March 12, 1912 in Savannah, Georgia. 18 girls were there that day.
Today, there are more than 3.7 million members. The Girl Scouts of America encourages girls to build confidence and character through service projects, outdoor activities, and adventures. And they, of course, have one of the most popular fundraisers around, Girl Scout cookies, which, if you're lucky, you might still be able to find around.
If there's any left.
Yeah.
I have had so many conversations about planting and plants and yards, what survived, what didn't.
Everything in my backyard's brown.
Yeah, it's all brown. And I don't know if we're going to get any decent rain to help anything out.
You know, we do have some rain coming our way this weekend and even into next week, another rain chance. But from all the experts I was listening to, you know, after our freeze, was just give everything some time. Oak pollen season has been delayed as well. Because of it, all the trees dropped their leaves, and normally we'd be basically ramping up our oak season, but we don't have any oak pollen in the air right now, and that's a result of the big freeze that we had. Continued breezy. You notice the gusty wind out there today and the past several days. Well, it's going to stay breezy into tomorrow. Weekend rainfall on the way, and then less humid as we get into Sunday. We're going to sweep away that humidity. Take a look at our day today. We started out at 68. That's 18 degrees above average. The humidity that's back in the air, the low clouds keeping us warmer at night. Then we made it up to 80 for the high. Right now we're at 77, so only 3 degrees down from our high temperature. The dew point at 60, but here's the key. The wind out of the southeast at 22 miles per hour. It's gusty out there, still breezy. And all across South Texas, we have steady winds at 15 to 20 and at times gusting up to 30. Get used to it for the first half of the weekend. Second half of the weekend, just fine. Notice the wind gusts tonight all the way through tomorrow between 25 and 30 miles per hour. So it's not outrageous in terms of the wind, but it's noticeable and it's something that will impact your night tonight and then especially your day again tomorrow. Dew points low to mid 60s, so we feel the mugginess back in the air. It's not oppressive, but it's noticeable, and it's going to be that way again tomorrow and then again as we get into next Tuesday. So really, with the mugginess in the air, only 2 days over the next 7. Saturday and Tuesday, we'll have the humidity in place, otherwise comfortable with the lack of humidity. But remember, it takes humidity to make rain. And that humidity is going to help us out tomorrow night. Already across the state, a lot of cloud cover, some showers and storms starting to activate near Lubbock, up in the Panhandle there as well. That's where we could have some severe weather tonight as you get up into the plains, Oklahoma, and even into parts of Kansas. But what we're watching here for our next rainmaker is this big, broad circulation, this upper level circulation right over Las Vegas. This is moving into the Four Corners region, going to bring with it a lot of mountain snowfall. And as it moves eastward, it's going to swing a cold front through town. That's going to give us better chances of rainfall. So some drizzle and a few sprinkles tonight and first thing tomorrow morning. A little bit of dampness, but not much to show for it. Then during the day tomorrow, pretty much just like today. Mostly cloudy, a few breaks in the clouds here and there, and a little muggy. Tomorrow after sunset, say 8, 9 p.m., that's when we're expecting some storms to develop out west. Basically, Del Rio to Rock Springs to Junction, we can't rule out a few stronger or severe storms roughly during the night beat tomorrow night. And then this activity spreads eastward, weakens a bit, but we'll still have a little bit of lightning and thunder and some leftover rain, of course, with it. So some light to moderate rainfall Saturday night through the first part of Sunday, and I think by about the noon hour, it really starts to move well east of San Antonio, and the second half of your Sunday is going to be sunny. So here's a breakdown for you. A little damp and drizzly tonight into tomorrow morning. 67 degrees the low, so another unseasonably warm start to the day. Right up near 80 degrees for the high temperature, and breezy with those winds up to 30. Tomorrow evening after sunset, some storms out west closer to the Rio Grande and even in parts of the western hill country. And that activity then spreads eastward. We'll have some areas of rain off and on Saturday night into the first half of Sunday. Sunday afternoon, though, a lot of sunshine and comfortable, 75 for the high temperature. So a lot of changes coming our way. But just remember that the rain is mostly going to be falling while you're sleeping Saturday night and then for early risers on Sunday morning. There is a potential up to ½ an inch in some of the more fortunate locations across South Texas. So cross your fingers for your neighborhood, as you may be one of those spots that get about ½ an inch. Otherwise, next week, next chance of storms would be Tuesday night.
Getting warm there on Tuesday.
Thanks, Adam. In case you missed it, it's coming up next.
Here's today's In Case You Missed It.
And a good morning to you. We made it to Friday. It's March 12th.
SAFD says the house where the fire originally started was completely destroyed and both homes were abandoned. Even though there was evidence that people had been squatting there, officials say no one was hurt. The cause of the fire is still being investigated.
Mayor Ron Nirenberg said the city of San Antonio stands firmly behind its utility company, which today accused ERCOT of breach of contract, negligence, and violating the state's constitution. Nirenberg calling the massive electric bills facing power companies and their customers in the face one of the largest illegal transfers of wealth in the history of Texas.
My son is a teacher and then my daughter's an architect, so yes, I get worried when they're out there in the field.
Community Labs has partnered with Southside, Southwest, and Judson school districts to provide free COVID-19 testing this weekend. Community Labs works with schools and businesses. They have administered more than 400,000 tests in just over 6 months.
The president marking the moment a day after addressing the nation in his first primetime event. His remarks coming on the 1-year anniversary of mandatory lockdowns caused by the pandemic. The president targeting July 4th as a day folks can feel free to gather in small groups.
Where we not only mark our independence as a nation, but we begin to mark our independence from this virus.
All right, it has been a long wait, but fans finally allowed back into the AT&T Center tonight to see the Spurs. Greg Simmons there live with the preview.
We're back in the building, but this is as close as we can get for the time being. But still, we're back at the game. Every fan arriving tonight gets 2 of these Fiesta T-shirts.
This weekend, best rain chance will be coming Saturday night into early Sunday morning. A few storms closer to the Rio Grande, otherwise just some scattered showers. If you're lucky, you could see up to half an inch of rain. Otherwise, clearing out on Sunday afternoon with a lot of sunshine at that point. A return to sunshine and blue skies. Up mid to upper 70s for highs all weekend. Next week, we get back into the 80s for Monday and Tuesday. Then a cold front hits Tuesday night. That will bring with it the chance of scattered thunderstorms.
Thanks, Adam. And thanks so much for watching the news at 6.
See you back here for the Night Beat tonight at 10. Have a good evening.